Alright, I know you can't see much of it right now, but this is a Miller and something, I call it an M&M hearse. And I know it's not Halloween yet, but hey, I'll go ahead and show it off anyway. Well, talk about it anyway. So basically, this is a 1972 Cadillac Fleetwood. Bone stock car, everything was stock on it, and the Hearse company, they took it in and they extended it. It was in a limousine. They made it even longer, put that giant cab on that thing, and converted it into a hearse. I don't know how many of the Miller or whatever hearses they made. Let's just call them the M&M hearses. They made, but they were powered by a Cadillac 471 or 472 cubic inch V8, making around 220 horsepower, 365 foot-pounds of torque. This one, I think, is a 1972, hooked up to a TH400 transmission, powering the rear wheels. I'd love to show you the motor, but I think the hood's stuck, so I couldn't get it open. But it is all there. This particular one does not run anymore because it needs some points, I think, in the distributor or something. And its last inspection was an 09. That doesn't mean anything. Well, I mean, it does. It means this car hadn't been on the road since 09 because our last year was like 2014, I think. Well, anyway, other than the paint and the vinyl top being chipped off, this particular one is not in terrible shape. I know you're not seeing much of it. This is a great big vehicle in a very crowded space. It's not in particularly bad shape. You got the leather seats, power everything. Well, seats aren't power, probably because this was a commercial vehicle. Because Cadillac, no, I take that back. Cadillac would not, no, they still have a commercial division. Yeah, they would sell these cars as commercial cars. They would sell bare bones, limousines and stuff like that, to people who would then modify them, and they would then modify the cars. So this was still a stock Fleetwood. It was still a nice car in 72, but again, it was sold through the commercial division of Cadillac. Kind of like how GMC has a commercial division, even though they really, kind of like how GMC is like Chevrolet's commercial division. I don't know if Cadillac still has the commercial division today, but I do know in the 70s they did, because this particular car, the same one, this right here, could be converted to an ambulance, a hearse, pretty much whatever you needed a big body car to hold things in. I think the most common ones are the hearses. Either the hearse or the ambulance. I don't know, I think that's like the only two they made, though. They did make more than just this style of hearse. They had one that was a floral car, and it was basically the back was open and everything. 0 to 60, I have no idea. It'd probably get there, because this car weighs like 5,000 pounds. It is a very, very heavy car. Because it's all steel, body on frame. There's absolutely nothing. Oh, and it has an anemic V8 in it, which can make really good power, and did make really good power before the 70s. I know all you're seeing is the side. You're not really getting a good view of it. And you could beef up, and if you wanted, I suppose you could beef up the 472 underneath the hood. They're very big motors. They make really good power if you start modifying them. They just take a lot of money to modify, because most of them are emission era motors. Gas mileage, probably like 8 highway, 5 city. Again, huge car. This particular one has something interesting in it. I don't think it's real, but here, we'll clean off that spot. Oh, you can see it on camera just fine. That's a casket. I don't think it's a real one. I think it's just a Halloween prop. Because I see other Halloween decorations in there. I mean, of course it's not a real one. I don't know, I ran out of things to say real fast, I'm sorry. I think this would be something cool to build. Be something cool to have if you just had money to bid it, to spend on it. But I would rather have just the normal car variant of a Fleetwood. And you got love these tail fins, or what's left of these tail fins. They were nothing compared to the grand tail fins of the 60s. But, yeah, and it's got a good motor in it. The 472 is a very good motor. Very strong motor. It is a very strong motor underneath this thing. Not stock. Stock, it is a very weak motor because the heads don't flow. The heads don't flow worth anything. The cam's too small. Runs just fine stock, but it's not. It's not ideal. It doesn't make enough power to move this behemoth. Well, dang, I can't get to the other side. Well, anyway. And I think I showed the interior. The interior on this car wasn't that bad. The funny thing is, it's got a clock on the other side, on the passenger side. I guess if you're driving, you didn't want to know the time. I've got but that was like standard in the 70s. Almost everything would have clocks. Heck, my Caprice has a clock. Oh. I thought it was locked. Heck, my Caprice is a clock. But yeah, you can see it right over there. Yep. Cassette tape. Oh, that's actually pretty... Wow, that must be aftermarket. They didn't have cassettes in 72. And I know this is a 70. I know this is 72, 73. Because the headlights are different. That's another way you could spot one. And they didn't really change the body style. If it's early 70s, headlights are going to look like that on a Fleetwood. If it's late 70s, they're going to be square. And they're not going to have this in the middle. Which a lot of them don't have that in the middle anyway. Because I know that's more of a mid-70s thing. I think somebody just removed the little square light in the middle and put that there instead. And yeah, just be a cool one. I guess some of the things I could say about what I think you should do to this one. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to talk about it. Some of the things I would think would be cool is, I wish I could show you this, but this hood's stuck. I couldn't get it open. And I'm not tearing up the hood. This isn't my car. I guess you could supercharge the 472 under here, bore it up, put a bigger cam in it, aluminum heads. It's a great big motor. Take, for instance, I think this is a 350. Yeah, well, just look at this. I think this is a 350. About quadruple the size of that. It's about bigger, big block in that school bus right there. Absolutely gigantic motor. And it's not even the biggest one Cadillac made. Everybody knows the famous Cadillac 500. It made around, for its first year, it made 400 horsepower, 400 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. But right after that was the only year it made that. Right after that, it made like 230 horsepower. Very, very big motor though. 8.2 cubic inches. But that's not what this one has. This one was a Fleetwood, because this one was a Fleetwood, so it got the standard 472. It's actually 471.61, but people just round up and call it a 472. Just sounds better. That's what Cadillac called it. So, yeah, and like I said, 0 to 60, I'll get there. It'll get there. This is a very heavy car. That's kind of what they were like without all this on it. It'll get there. I mean, they accelerate pretty good, but not like the 60s. The 60s, I heard the best way described by those is you put your foot on the gas, and you're like, okay, all right, whoa, whoa. Because it just doesn't stop. It doesn't go fast, but it does not stop accelerating. Just because it's got such a big motor in it. You see the 5.0 over there, yeah. The hearses, I very seriously doubt were like that. It's hard to talk about how it drives and everything, considering I've never driven one before. I'm just going off of what people said the old Cadillacs drive like. I'm sure it rode real good. I'm sure this was like one of the best riding commercial vehicles you'd ever be in, because again, they just extended a Fleetwood, which is already a great big vehicle. But left everything stock. I think it's like, has to be like a 20-foot extension cord. Yeah, it has to be like 20 feet long. This thing's crazy big. See, I'll pan the camera around it. See, crazy big. It's stupid big. But it's a hearse. It kind of has to be. But they're crazy, stupid big when you when they're not extended. But anyway, I guess I'm going to go ahead and end the video. I'm pretty much done rambling on about this hearse. So, I know this wasn't one of the better videos I've done, but if you liked it, and you made it this far, and you want to support the channel, please consider, commenting, subscribing, sharing, you know, all that jazz. But other than that, thank you for watching, and have a good one.